Serious guys of Reddit, why did you reject the pretty girl? I accidentally turned down a girl I had a massive crush on in middle school. I'd convinced myself she was the one I was going to end up with, marry, etc. Turns out she actually liked me too, and her brother would literally walk past me at school and yell, "My sister likes you," but I just assumed he was trolling me or something. Well, one day we were on the train home after school and her friend suddenly and mysteriously disappeared to another carriage, leaving her and I alone together. She asked, "Hey, I was wondering, do you have a crush on me?" As she leaned in hopefully for my answer, how did I react to this situation? I started rummaging through my school backpack pretending I was looking for something, and changed the subject to some dumb thing that my brother did on the weekend. She leaned back in her seat and looked visibly disappointed. Now why did I do this, you ask? Because I'd heard the statistics of how unlikely relationships were to last if they started at that age. So I told myself we weren't ready yet. I was going to wait 5 more years until we'd left school before I made my move, because then it would last. I told myself, of course. I waited so long that she eventually lost interest and we drifted away. Yeah. Teenage me had some strange ideas about love and relationships. In college I didn't make a move on a former homecoming queen who now is a Broadway actress, despite her putting overt moves on me first. I'd like to say it's because I had my eyes set on the quirky artistic girl instead. It's true, I did choose to date that quirky art girl right afterward, but that wasn't it. I'd like to say it was because I found out the only reason she put the moves on me at all was because I'm a dead ringer for her ex-boyfriend. That was true also, but wasn't the reason. The reason I didn't reciprocate her moves was because I was chicken-sh terrified, and she was, and still is, so far out of my league I'd need an Amtrak ticket to get within a point. Sometimes it do be like that. I'd like the record to show that she is a delightful person, and the whole "I look like her ex" thing, while kinda weird, was not really an indication of anything beyond her having a type, I suspect. Now she's with a totally cut actor dude. I'm not a totally cut actor dude. I have a belly and tattoos and a mustache. I had a huge crush on this girl in high school. Tried hanging out with her for close to a year, always hoping she would see me as something more than just a friend. When that didn't really work out, I decided to just go for it, and I asked her to prom. She didn't say yes right away, but she did say yes. I quickly figured out that she was going to prom because she was excited to go to prom, not because she wanted to go with me. I lost interest after that and started dating another girl. Interestingly enough, it was a girl that I danced with at that prom who told me while we were dancing that she really liked me. I've rejected many. Tinder is a maelstrom of crazy crap, for sure. It blows my mind at how many people seem to outright expect me to have low self-esteem. If I get the sense that they feel they are doing me a favor by simply being there isn't going to be a second date. If you're rude to wait staff, there isn't going to be a second date. If you have the personality of a wet turkey sandwich, there isn't going to be a second date. If you're always on your phone, there isn't going to be a second date. If you play hard to get, as soon as I pick up on it, I'm gone. The thing that bothers me most is that all these games are so remarkably common, and it has me really discouraged that I'm ever going to find someone up to my standards, which aren't steep in my opinion. Whenever I tell them it isn't working out, I more often than not get something along the lines of, "You're not cute enough to be this stuck up." I'm a guy, so yeah, I get it. Rejection sucks, and I'll let them get a jab in to deal with it. But, honey, I'm 30. I'm not looking for a hookup. Being pretty isn't enough anymore. I'm looking for someone to share a few more adventures with before I'm old. I want someone to put effort into it and actually take interest in my passions and goals. I want a partner, not someone that thinks they are a trophy. Dating is a nightmare. I grew up in a summer resort town, and a girl my age would spend summers at a cottage in my neighborhood. She always had a boyfriend, like since she was 12, because she was an absolutely beautiful girl. We got along well in our teens and into college, but I wouldn't say we had a flirty friendship or anything like that. I just always felt like she was out of my league, and also me and my brothers were good friends with her other siblings and cousins. Summer before my senior year in college, mid-90s, we met up for drinks with a few other people from our neighborhood. She casually mentions that she broke up with her boyfriend a few weeks before, but I didn't think anything of it. I noticed she kept cozying up to me and eventually asked me to walk her home. We kissed and she told me that she always liked me, and then we started dating just before going back to college. After like 3 times together I realized that I had never really been alone with her and that she had the personality of an 8-year-old. Constant babble talk, and she only watched cartoons and the Disney Channel. She was incredibly awkward around my friends, like non-functional in conversations. We had absolutely no common interests whatsoever. We couldn't even go to the movies together because she had trouble with anything above a PG rating. We ended up dating for about 5 months. But I just couldn't take it anymore. Some of my friends still give me a hard time for dumping the hottest girl I have ever seen. But we all have our limits, I suppose. I dated a gorgeous, perfect 10 girl for a few months and then broke it off. The problem was that she had no personality and no sense of humor. I'm afraid she may not have been very smart. Either that, or she believed that the man should take control of every situation and make every decision. It got very frustrating having conversations like, "Where do you want to eat? I don't care. Whatever you pick is fine. What should we do this weekend? Whatever you want is okay with me. What kind of music do you like? I'm not picky." She would laugh at all of my jokes, but I don't think she got any of them. She would laugh the same laugh every single time, no matter what kind of joke it was. And I know some of my jokes were funny, damn it. And she was a cold fish in the bedroom. She never showed any preference for anything in particular. I had to make all the moves, every single time, and she would just lie there. That made me second guess myself. Is it me? Am I missing something? I think I know what I'm doing. My partners have always had fun before, so I eventually broke it off. It was just no fun anymore. Yes, she was very beautiful, but she was boring. Or maybe it was me. Maybe I was just wrong for her, but I could never find out if she was happy or not. So I just gave up. My friends thought I was insane for breaking off with her. I didn't go into details why, because I didn't want to talk badly about her. So I just said it didn't work out and left it at that. When I broke up with her, she smiled the same smile she always smiled and said, "Okay," and that was it. I found out months later from one of her girlfriends that she was heartbroken over it. Heartbroken. I wanted to bash my head into a wall. How was I supposed to know she even cared? She never showed any emotion over anything. I felt terrible about breaking her heart, but she never gave me a single clue that she cared about anything. You've got to give me something to work with. Communication is important, kids. Let me tell you about the girl I dated before I met my wife. We dated for 2 years. She was really pretty, and we had some similar interests, so it kind of clicked. She loved me. She wanted to be with me all the time. She wanted to keep other people away from me. I slowly drifted away from my circle of friends as she preferred to stay in rather than go out, for reasons I will never understand. She was constantly worried that my friends' girlfriends were interested in me. They were not. She thought my male friends were shallow, so over time my wide circle of friends became a dot of only her. She did not like my family at all. She thought they were always judging her and somehow scheming various things secretly behind her back. They were not. In the end I chose my friends and family over her because they are part of who I am. And if she could not accept them, how could she love the person I really am? I had a thing for this girl for a long time. We had a lot of fun, enjoyed each other's company, got along and were friends for a while before we got together. There was a period of time where we weren't around each other for about a year or so. We got together shortly after this period and started going out. We went on a date and were talking about things. She told me during that year or so we weren't around that she picked up smoking. I remember feeling so let down and disappointed. It was a major turn off for me. I had a thing for her for 10 years at least. Some may think it is shallow, but smoking is something I can't stand. I tried for a while to deal with it, but to me, it was something that was constantly in my mind and I couldn't get over. She's a pretty attractive actress. She appeared on a few NBC shows, and I always wanted to work with her. She just wanted to F Long story, she just got out of a 4-year relationship and wasn't looking to settle down again. We took a liking to each other and I wanted to try to pursue something because we had a decent amount in common and I could see us being a cool couple. I just wasn't interested in being her F-buddy while she also pursued other guys on the side, which she was very open about. She wanted to spend more time with me and I guess I cold toughed it out and showed her that I was the guy for her etc. But I just didn't care to. I was looking to settle down and not play that emotional game. Honestly, I've written this post a couple times but it just gets too long. I'll keep it short. Just graduated HS. Off to college. Dating a girl that was fine most of the time, but would have temper outbursts and tell me the typical abusive stuff, like I was ugly and she was the only one who'd date me. She immediately apologized and I just figured this is how girls were because of their times. Couple of months into college, making a lot of new friends from new cultures to me. I grew up in East Texas, so besides one Muslim and one Asian in my grade, everyone was white. Get placed into advanced calculus 1 and 2 for the semester. Kids are in there because the advisors felt bad their schedules didn't work for the normal class and the professor allowed them. I tutored a lot of people and only one person was smarter than me in the class. He was from a different country with poor education and had taught himself calculus entirely. Such a bright dude. Anyways, people always messaged me and grouped me to study. One person messaged me, PFP of a dude, name I had never heard before, asking to study that night. I said sure, but then the person cancelled and rescheduled for the following evening, but offered to buy me some food at the university center. I obliged. Free food, a chance to do more calculus, and a new homie. What a deal. Turns out the PFP is her boyfriend, and she is this extremely beautiful girl, like, not even exaggerating when I say she was the most beautiful human I had ever seen. Think of Jasmine from Aladdin, but way prettier. I'm one of the dudes that is oblivious to girls liking me and will write anything off as friendliness or what have you. In retrospect, I should have caught on. She said group me used too much data and asked to get my phone number. Sure, we can study whenever. Fast forward through a lot of stuff. My girlfriend broke up with me after 2 years. But I was really only sad for that night, and calculus girl kept coming to me for advice about her boyfriend. He was mentally, emotionally, verbally, and occasionally physically abusive towards her. I was the one she could talk to about it because of how I had helped everyone in calculus without asking for anything in return. She described me as my good Christian cowboy lol. Even further into the semester, she had a really rough night with her boyfriend and I helped her through it. She starts talking to me even more, and we are getting pretty close. Studying for calculus whenever and sometimes just hanging out. I've been pretty blessed in that every girl I've been close with minus the now ex-girlfriend loved to listen to me just talk for hours about random stuff I'm passionate about without being bored. It's pretty weird to think about how it still happens with close females too. Maybe it's just my perception of myself that makes me think that female friends wouldn't want to talk to me about random stuff, but they do. Anyways, she starts asking me about my faith and considering learning more at the church I was attending. Her family was Muslim, but she didn't buy it. Start talking to her about Christianity and she starts getting more interested and inquiring about it. Awesome. I won't date somebody unless they are also a Christian, or I feel as if it's only a matter of time before they become one. Just a faith thing. She starts confessing some stuff to me because I'm a pretty trustworthy, no drama guy. If you tell me something, it won't leave my mouth unless I'm morally obligated to inform authorities or whatever. Sent some tasteless pictures to X. He is blackmailing her. I spent some time looking through state law and told her what I would do, and she threatened to tell the police that he was in dealing businesses of the devil's lettuce. They break up and we get closer. Ask her if she'd like to go to a movie. Yes. Day before movie. Get a call at midnight. So I guess the day of the movie date. IDK. From her cousin. She had been in a car wreck from speeding. Phone was toast apparently. She wanted me to come to see her, but only when her parents were gone, because they were Muslim, and wouldn't be happy to see her close to a Christian guy, who was also talking to her about his faith. Next day, same thing happened, except it evolved into a drawn out making out session. Not proud of it, but she wasn't on any drugs. Over those 2 days I spent over 19 hours with her in the hospital and missed classes just so she wouldn't be alone. Date was, obviously, cancelled. She'd be in the hospital for a couple of weeks. Then she'd go into physical therapy because her hip and arm were pretty wrecked. Replies starting getting slowed down, which I was considerate of. She didn't have her phone, could only use her cousin's MacBook, and was in the hospital. Nearing Christmas time, the only time she messages me in a day is to reply to me asking if she's okay. I get ambiguous answers, and I figure something's up. Didn't reply for a while, so I just gave up. She got out of the hospital a little before Christmas and had actually found her phone off in the ditch by the wreck. Still replying slowly, but posting her hanging out with friends or whatever on social media. I'm not jealous, but it just didn't make sense how she could initiate a makeout sesh with me, tell me that she really likes me, and then drop me like that. A month goes by and we don't talk at all. She randomly messages me and says hi. I greet her back, and she doesn't reply for a week. Any replies she sent after that were ignored. I tried to be understanding with this beautiful, jaw-dropping girl that actually liked me. Not sure what happened, but I figured that it would be a recurring theme and dropped it.